Hello, good evening. Before business starts, my puppy is now 5.5 months old and, oops, I need to sort the sound out. Really solid and naughty. He's the naughtiest puppy in his puppy class, but also the cleverest. So, yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I need to post some more pictures. All he does is seem to eat and poop at the moment. Anyway, I've bribed him with a tripe stick. I've bribed him with a tripe stick to stay quiet during this live. Hopefully he will, but they've got this weird thing, him and my older dog. They don't understand why I'm just sitting at my desk talking into a microphone, and they would like me to actually talk to them. So when I do that and they can't see anyone else in the room, they start kicking off and playing really loud games of bitey face to try and get my attention, because they don't understand who I'm talking to. And so if that happens, God, I hope that doesn't happen tonight. It seems to happen most mornings. So they've had a good walk. Hopefully he'll be quiet this evening. So yeah, that's my puppy update. What about these markets, eh? You know, I see people every morning, you know, at the start of the week, and they're going to short, and this market just keeps squeezing higher. It's squeezing higher, anticipating a stimulus getting done ahead of the election. I honestly can't see it happening. I feel like this stimulus button is a bit of a bribe for voters, and I can't see what the motivation would be to get it done before the election. I just don't get it. So maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm just too cynical. I could be, but you know, I think we're going to retest the highs. We just keep squeaking higher. I've drawn fib levels from this high to low. This is the E-mini S&P, and as you can see, we are kind of ignoring them, and which is always a bit of a concern. It means that we're probably more likely looking at the most recent swing this way. And that was just, when that happens, it normally means that was, we're just looking at the most recent swing. Oops, hold on, I got this wrong. This way, and that also this is, I feel like this is kind of likely a B leg that we're in, and we should still see a C leg lower, you know, but who knows? You know, with the B legs, if you think about a market, so a 5-wave impulse wave is normally a trend move, and then corrective moves are normally 3 waves, and then the trend continues. Okay, the problem with this corrective move is they can be quite a lot of variation. So we could see a swing lower and then a new high, and like that, and then we carry on. Or we could see a running correction like this, because the leg in the middle, this leg here, has to be an A, B, C as well. And so sometimes this is our A leg, and this is our B leg, and this is our C leg, and so on. And so there's a huge variety. So it's quite possible here in this S&P that we come all the way up and retest the highs. We could even make a new high, a marginal new high, and still just be in the B leg and do another leg lower. And so until we actually get some reversal price action, there's really not much you can do about it except bet that it keeps going higher. And the old-fashioned way, you know, the old school way of looking at it was when, you know, you closed below the previous day's low. So if we look at this move that we've had since the 6th of October, we have not, this last swing in other words, we have not closed below the previous day's low. And then if we see that, we should see some follow through. This was obviously a nasty reversal on news. This was Mr. Trump's announcement that the stimulus talks were off. And then when he started saying, you know, come on, we can get a check sent out, the market has rallied on that. So the market is still anticipating that there is a check that could get sent out, which is some big economic stimulus. When you send a $1,200 check to every single American, that's you know, that most of them will go out and spend it. And so that is economic stimulus. So this is what the market is anticipating. So if it doesn't happen, we know what will trigger the market coming lower. And if we want to see a break to new highs, I think getting a deal done, or even just a deal on the checks going out, obviously that's not enough for the long term. That's what we're going to see a trigger to new highs. So the key question for everything else is, what does this mean for the dollar? So if you're wondering how we are choosing what markets that we are looking at tonight, my group vote on what they would like to see, and a lot of people wanted to talk about the euro dollar specifically, and the dollar tonight, and the dollar index. Well, it's useful to talk about the dollar because the dollar is 57% of the dollar index. It's, you know, one of the biggest other major currencies against the US dollar. The problem with the euro dollar is that we have negative rates in euros, so it's a bit of a funding currency. So whereas before it used to be a pretty James is saying, apologies for those who made requests tonight. The list got muddled up. Did I look at the wrong list? I went right through the Facebook group. Couldn't see a poll. Hold on. Okay, just bear with me 1 second while I take a break. Okay, people, I think I'm going to have to stop and restart again because I've got the wrong list. Hold on. Guys, I'm going to stop. I'm going to start again because I've got the wrong list of requests. Hold on 1 second. Oh dear. Seems like I'm working from a wrong list and nobody wants to know about euro dollar. I'm gonna carry on while I finish though, because I think the big picture view here in the euro dollar is quite important. I'm gonna put my drawings back on. I'm gonna take some of them off. When you look at this big picture of the euro in this kind of channel that we've been in, you could draw it as a channel like this, and we're kind of iffy around the bottom. But one thing about when you're in an equal channel is the legs are very often equal, and these ABC moves within the channel are very often equal. And if we do that here in this euro dollar and we measure, I'm just going to put this 50% one because that's where we bounced. Here it's around this 50% level. I think we head down to this 61.8 level, and the reason is if I measure this swing like this, is it this one? I think it is. This is where this swing and this swing are equal. And not only that, but when you draw these equal measured moves, you know, in a correction, the first swing is very often 61.8 of the first swing or equal to it. If we look here, we can see that this red line is where it was 61.8, and that's becomes a very strong support and resistance level. So here we first of all bounce twice off this 61.8 level, where this move lower was 61.8 of this first move, and now that we're underneath it, this 61.8 level is resistance, and I think it stays as resistance unless we get back above it, which is 120.45, that we continue lower here to 0.95 and parity. And that's quite important because that signals increasing dollar strength, which the dollar is one of the biggest kind of factors. That's going to be a pullback on Bitcoin if we see dollar strength. However, if we get back above this 1.2045 leg, it would say that this has been cut short, this is over, and we're going to see a much bigger move higher. So quite an important high last month in the euro dollar. Where are we short term? I feel like we're just kind of consolidating with a bit of back and fill. I'd like to see this high retested and see what happens. If we can't retest the high, or we make a lower high, then I'm going to see it just as a B leg. If I look at short term at the rally that we've seen since the 25th of September, this is just starting to, we're in a very tight little channel here. We can draw it on the 4-hour, and a drop out of this channel for me would be my trigger for the next leg lower. Until we do that, we're still creeping higher in an uptrend, and potentially we get to retest these highs at 120.54. So that's how I see euro dollar. I think I'd like to see one more tag on the top line of this channel before we have another go at lower, but that's where we are with the dollar. So dollar weakness while euro dollar squeaks higher, and while some of these do. But you know, when I look at some of the other currencies, we've got the Bank of Australia about to come up. This, you know, this, I'd like to see this as a bullish flag, but if we can't break out, so watch out for the RBA. I think that they're going to determine whether we break out of this bull flag or not in the Aussie US dollar. That would signify more dollar weakness as well. And this, the one I'm really watching though, is this Canadian dollar. If I look at the monthly chart in this Canadian dollar, I really see this as a huge, you know, I remember trading in 08 around these highs in the Canadian dollar. And if we extend this line left here, this is really quite a kind of critical support around 130 for the Canadian dollar. If this breaks down here, and I'll take off all my squiggly drawings here, because the big fib that I want to look at, I feel like this is a harmonic pattern. We've topped here, highs to lows, and this is a double top reversal at a 786 fib level. Here's how I see this in the Canadian dollar. And when you reverse at a 786 fib and you break the 61.8, your target is the 38.2. Well, that's down here where the monthly 200 moving averages in the Canadian dollar. So this becomes the target if this support breaks in the dollar Canadian dollar. So what would cause that big move, a big dollar weakness move like that? You know, well, printing a ton of money in a massive stimulus package would, and that would be, you know, printing a massive amount of dollars for a massive $1 trillion stimulus would trigger that, and it would be very good for Bitcoin. So that's what I'm looking at in the US dollar, and that's why I think it's going to help Bitcoin. Anyway, so obviously the list at the start of is complete rubbish, and I'm going to start again with a new list. And nobody really wanted to know what I thought about the dollar after all. Some reason everybody wants to know about Link. Every week, everybody wants to know about Link. So that's where we'll go. I think I should start with Bitcoin though. Don't you? I'm going to start with Bitcoin. So first off here in Bitcoin, we'll go to our daily chart. So we just measured that thing, you know, about corrections, didn't we? Let me take this, I hide this for a second. And that's where, you know, if your first swing is 61.8 of your, you know, if your second swing is 61.8 or equal to your first swing, that's very often the sign of a correction. Here I feel like we made an ABC, and in this level here where we paused and broke above at the weekend was 61.8 of the first swing, and now the equal measured move for us is a little bit higher in Bitcoin. If I've measured it wrong and I've done it like this, even better, because we've broken above today this kind of equal measured move danger zone, and so I'm looking higher from here to 11,800 to 11,900, and after this big breakout day, 11,476 should be where our support is to continue higher. So if you wanted to buy back some Bitcoin for the ride up to 11,900, I would see this hourly chart, how this was our highs here. I would be looking for a little pullback if you can get one to this level to turn up again, and then that's my next upside target. And we'll go step by step. You know, it's just like the Canadian dollar that we just looked at, which has massive support underneath it, or the euro dollar that has massive resistance that it has to break. We've got the similar scenario, you know, in this Bitcoin, and I really do feel like it's going to be all about the stimulus or not. And if it doesn't get done, or it gets put off, or we have to wait, you know, if we wait until after the election, those stimulus checks won't go out till December, even though the market will anticipate it. And so we'll have to see. That's where I am. It's possible here in Bitcoin, when we look at the daily, that this is just an ABC down, and we're doing an ABC correction higher before we see another leg lower. So, you know, only when we kind of make a new high and sustain a new high can we say, oh yeah, actually that was the correction over and we're in a new upswing. If we do get into, I'll be very happy, but kind of I'm open. Let's clean up the chart here. And we're on Deribit, which is not enough really chart history. The best chart history is on the Bitstamp chart. Hold on. So if you look at the Bitstamp chart, let me have a tidy up here. So if we carry on higher here and we carry on to new highs, let me take some of these away. This will mean that the scenario where this is potentially just a big wedge or a triangle is broken. So we need to make new highs and sustain new highs. Otherwise, there's a lot of Elliott wave camp who believe that we are due another trip to the bottom of this potential wedge, and before we rally again. So a lot will depend on how this next move unfolds, because you know, you never know if this was our correction complete, A, B, C, which it could have been, because this then this would be a new upswing, and we would need to see really impulsive moves. And if this was, you know, correction over, we need to start seeing some really strong moves to the upside, unlike the sort of choppy overlapping stuff that we've seen in this move initially. So let's see if we can sustain it now that we're kind of back above this support and resistance level after back testing it today. So 11,900 next upside resistance. Remember, I'm just using the fib levels from here, high to low like this. 11,900. Then I think probably we'll see a retest of the highs, or we'll retest this trend lines, and then we'll see what happens there. So if you're, you know, cautiously long, just keep, you know, moving your stop up under swing lows, and we'll see how we go. That's how I'm trading it. Had a really strong move in ETH today, but we also have some really strong move coming, resistance coming up in ETH as well. In ETH, unlike Bitcoin, if we measure the first swing from the low, we haven't gone beyond that kind of equal measured move level from the low. We've got flat daily moving averages, and we are underperforming Bitcoin at the moment, you know, so a lot of resistance coming up for ETH 397,400. ETH really loves round numbers as well, so I would not be surprised to see if we hit a bit of a brick wall here. So we're going to call 400 our resistance, 398,400 as our resistance. If we see a reversal here, we're not going to be bearish. Remember, this 61.8 also works like a very strong support and resistance level, and it is actually real support and resistance if we look left, this one. And so below 365, we would be bearish and sellers for another leg lower. And in between, you know, we could do quite a bit of back and fill here in ETH US dollar. So watch out for that. If we take a quick peek at ETH Bitcoin, let's put regular candles on. You can see that we're just kind of flat moving averages, just going sideways. We're stuck under this 38.2 fib level. I do like how we're sitting on the 50 moving average, and this is a bit more of a bullish candle today. You know, when you see a big Maribosu candle like this, so a candle with a big long body and short tails, very often 50% of that candle is a really good place to look for an entry. And you would normally say that you have a bearish reversal or you have a bearish inside bar if you break or if you close more than 50% down. So if we had a daily close, so say this line was 50% of this open close and we closed underneath it, that would be a early warning of a bearish reversal. And then normally you would go to the lows and expect a lot of stops underneath a big candle like this, wouldn't you? So that's what I would be looking for. Okay, so that's Bitcoin and ETH. We won't mention Monero, which is on another planet, isn't it? It's on its way. Now, I have been a bit dismissive of Link. I thought this would have real trouble. I'm going to switch to real candles and a 4-hour chart here. So for a couple of reasons why I thought we would have trouble here. We haven't quite reached this trend line from the highs yet, but we've also got, you know, a 50% level in the middle. If I draw my fibs from the lows in March to the highs that we made in August, we reversed at a 61.8 fib level. When you reverse at a 61.8 fib level, the 50% level in the middle very often acts as a pivot, support and resistance. That's what it's done before, and that's what it did when we rallied back to it in September. So this fib level, 101,190, that's our fib resistance. If we get above that, because we've reversed it to 61.8, we'll go to the 38.2. So I'm just going to put them on the right where we can see. So 101.90 is our resistance in Link Bitcoin. And then if I measure from this low to this high and I project it from here, if we're doing that ABC thing, you can see that this is also this 61.8 level that held us back for the last 3 days. So we've broken above this first line of resistance. Now we've got this second line of resistance, which is this fib level, which you could see we couldn't close above before, 101.190, and then potentially we've got a third touch of this trend line. So the odds are really stacked up against us at the moment in Link Bitcoin. But if we get above all this, then happy days, because really we should, from a 61.8, this would be our first target here at 117,282. That's our first target then on a breakout, which hasn't happened yet, obviously, but we're hoping for. And your second target, if you go beyond the 38.2, is the 236 fib. So that would be at 137,194. So lots of upsides. Sometimes though, just a warning, when you get to this 38.2, you will come back to this 50%, retest the breakout level, and before you carry on. So just be a little bit careful of that if we do start to see a big reversal here. So that's how I'm seeing Link Bitcoin. A lot of overhead resistance, not an insurmountable, but potential that could knock us back here. So let's see how we're doing in link dollar, or link tether even. Because here we had the same scenario and a lovely breakout. So again, from this low to this high, projected from here, we were held down by the 61.8 level, and now we've broken above it cleanly. So we're on our way to the 38.2, so we'll take that away. And again, because this is from the low in March. So link tether is saying we'll break out and hold on for the ride, and our next upside target, again, I should put them on the right so I can read it. There's our next upside target, 12.94. So lovely breakout in the last 24 hours in link. Now, this 50% level, when you break above it, you shouldn't go back underneath it. So this is your support. So if you were looking for where to put your stop in link tether, underneath 10.7, and if you did it in a link Bitcoin, underneath wherever that 50% pivot level is. So once you break above it, that's where you would need your stop. Okay, so that's what we're looking for in link. Okay, and let me see. The next one requested tonight is EOS. I've prepared all the wrong coins. This is so... Anyway, doesn't matter because we can do it. Now, EOS was having the longest consolidation. Let's go to a daily. And let's clean up and start again. So we're looking fresh all together. Because we've been stuck in between these daily moving averages, trying to get off the lows here in EOS. So this is one, I can't clean that up. There we can. This is one of the ones. Let's zoom out. I put my fibs on from this high to this low. We reversed at the 61.8. We dropped underneath the 50 and we hit our first target of the 38.2 here. And you see what I said about you very often bounce, go back, retest the 50 and then carry on. That's what we did here. So we bounced back to the 50 and almost got to this 236 lower target. We haven't. And I feel like there's still, whilst we stay underneath this 38.2 support and resistance level, I feel like there's a risk that in EOS Tether that we're still going to see one more drop to these lows and this next support and resistance level down here. And this has kind of got the look of a bear flag as well. It's frustrating that we haven't been able to get above this 200 moving average at every attempt we do. And instead what we've been stuck in between is above these highs here and the 20 moving average. And then below these lows here and the 200. So this is our range that we're stuck in. You can draw it from here, can't you? Like this. Okay, so this is our narrow range that we've been in 6-7 days now, and we need a breakout. Notice that this support level is 50% of this big green up candle. So that would be the first indication, I think, if we closed underneath 2.6, I would say that we're probably going to see new lows in this 2.335 level. However, if we can close above the 200 moving average and this sideways consolidation, then I think that there's a good chance, every good chance that we've probably bottomed, if we can, especially if we can hold above this 200 moving average and we can start a new swing higher here in EOS. So I'm neutral until we can break out of this zone. It's had some pretty, yeah, it's just flat moving averages here on the hourly. Flat moving averages on the daily means we're not really trending until we get a bit of a breakout. So above 2.7, I'm going to get excited in EOS Tether. Otherwise, I think the risk is lower, unfortunately. If EOS Bitcoin, but now, I'm going to go to the weekly We'll zoom out and we'll look big picture at how these retraced fib levels from the all-time lows to highs have been really quite important, especially recently for EOS. So the 786 gave us a decent bounce, but it wasn't a reversal. Then we got down here to this 886. If you're wondering, how do we get a 786 or an 886 or a 942 fib? The 786 is the square root of 61.8. The 886 is the square root of 786. And 0.942 is the square root of 886. So it's not particularly rocket science. It's just square. So I feel like in EOS, especially as we're trading at new lows, that we've got a little bit further to go before I'd be looking for this one to find support, and that's at 2169. So it's underperforming Bitcoin and stuck in a sideways range against the dollar. So although it looks horrible on this Bitcoin chart, you're not actually losing any fiat money, but it's not so pretty down here, is it? So 2169, and we're at 2306, so it's not that far. You could look at this and say, you know, have we actually broken the lows? I don't know, it's pretty, yeah, I think we have. If we close here, we have. So it's a new lower close. So very often these moves, final moves, end in a kind of declining wedge. So you can sometimes draw them. If we zoom out here like this. And the good thing about these declining wedges is if you draw them right, then they tell you when it's over as well. So I'll draw it parallel initially. I don't think it'll be working, but we'll see. Or I'll draw it like this. There we go. So we're looking for a touch of this bottom rail, and then hopefully a bounce, and then a breakout of the top rail, and then it would also be a nice final 5 waves down here in EOS Bitcoin as well, wouldn't it? So we'll be looking for a bounce down here, 2169 then. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is DOT. Okay, James has written, add link EOS dot, remove atom, strode, like, fuck's sake, I can't see what I'm supposed to do next. Okay, and I'll just do requests. Let's look at dot. As if I got time to do that. Hold on. Okay. It would be helpful if somebody could make me that list for me, but there you go. Now, I don't know where dot is. Let's quickly find dot. I apologise. Not having it ready. Did I mention, I know I looked at Rune last week. Did I mention how much I like this little Rune coin? I mentioned it on Twitter that I like this little Rune coin. Of course, since I mentioned it, it's gone sideways. Whenever a coin breaks above this 20 moving average, which we've done here. Remember, we've talked about this ABC stuff, haven't we? And so what was holding Rune down here was this 61.8 level. This is the level where, okay, if we measure from this low to high, this level swing was 61.8 of the first swing. Resistance, we just moved above it today, so 49.90 should now be support in Rune Bitcoin for Rune to continue higher to 6,044. So I was very happy to see this today. Not only that, but if I zoom out and we look back at what's happening at this level, see how it has resistance, resistance. Now look, we've gone ABC support, and it's just turning up higher now. I like this as an hourly buy right now in Rune for a swing higher. And another one that looks very similar to me tonight to this Rune coin. And so 6,044 is where I'd be looking for a target in Rune. And another one that looks very similar to me tonight to this one is Atom. So Atom, let's see where we are with measured moves in this one. Atom needs to go beyond 6.3. There's a little bit of a danger of a equal measured move in this one, which means we need to make new highs. So in terms of fibs, if we go back to the daily, see how we've reversed to the 61.8. We're holding above this 38.2, so I'm hoping we keep going higher here, but we'll be wrong if we close back below 5.89. So I've got atom dollar. What I really like is when I know I'm wrong. So I know if we make new lows here, or if, like, we lose this hourly 50 moving average, or that I'm wrong. And I know if I break to the upside, I've broken the bearish symmetry, and I'm looking for a next swing higher to target 7.04 in atom. So quite an important level for this one if we're going to keep going higher. If you're long and you've ridden this one up because it's this equal measured move level, watch out for the bigger reversal here in atom. Okay. Okay, so we need to look at OMG and Wing. All right then. OMG and Wing and KNC, that's fine. And ADA, I haven't done ADA. Let's take a look at ADA, because ADA's really turned it around. Hello, ICX, yeah, I will. ADA, here's our daily chart of ADA. Now, again, another lovely breakout day today in ADA. First off, we've got sideways moving averages. So it's really important in ADA that we break out of this sideways range. And what you see very often in sideways ranges is how important the closes are, because you'll have little expedition parties in price outside of the range, but you tend to close back in. And so all of these closes were here, but on the upside, we could not close above this 236 fib retrace from ADA Bitcoin from the high in July. So high in July, low in September. This 236 fib was holding us down at 941. If we close here tonight, it'll be the first close above it. So I'm starting to think that maybe we could, on a retest, maybe hold this level. If we don't, and this is, you know, how we know where we're wrong, then if we can't hold 941 and turn higher, then I'm wrong, and this is just consolidation. We need to wait and see. But that's what I'm looking for tonight in ADA. I'm looking for a bullish close above 941. I'm looking for 1,066 and then 1167 next. It's just looking like it wants to creep over the line, and that would be a good sign. Obviously, until we make new highs, we aren't completely out of trouble in ADA, but I do kind of like that. I like the bottoming pattern. I have to say that I'm not all over this and calling it an inverted head and shoulders pattern. For me, the best inverted head and shoulders patterns have kind of equal shoulders, and this right one is like making me a little bit nervous because it's bigger. But that's where I feel we are with ADA, outperforming Bitcoin. And if we look at ADA Tether, we definitely have our bullish close. We had it yesterday above this 38.2 fib, sideways moving averages. So we needed a breakout, and we look like we're getting it. If we look where the first resistance, if this was just a correction, and we're just going to do a measured move, we can look. We've broken above the 61.8 level, so we should go at least to 0.1205 next. So looking good for ADA Tether for sure. And go back to the hourly, look at these pullbacks, because it might be we just do a little shallow pullback here in ADA Tether and we hold this 61.8 level at 0.1086, but maybe a little bit lower. We'll be wrong anyway. Let's put it this way, we might just pull back to here and we're a bear underneath. Okay, oops, we're a bear underneath 0.1057. Okay, next one we're going to look at is Wing. So Wing, I was going to have a little, I nearly had a little bit of a meltdown tonight having researched all the wrong coins, but there you go. You thought I didn't even look at them. Okay, I can't find a wing chart, so I'm just going to wing it here. This is one, had a big breakout today, and this is also, look at this little Bancor. This may also be a little inverted head and shoulders pattern. I really do like how this Bancor is setting up. You could see how until today this 236 fib was resistance. Bunched up moving averages usually predicts a big move. Lovely pullback to feel support from the here. Now we've had a really big update. Are you going to just buy this here? No, you need really to see a little bit of a pullback and a retest. In fact, we've only really broken out properly in the last hour or so. But this is what we were looking for today in Bancor. So a little bit of pullback to that breakout level, even if it's just on a 15-minute, that would be a pretty nice long entry, I think. Keep an eye on that one. I know I keep switching around, but there are a few nice charts out there at the moment, and I didn't want to miss them. Let's take a look then at Wing. Okay, Wing Bitcoin. Pardon, that was the dog. Okay. Gosh, it looks like we've got this wedge. We really need bunched up flat moving averages, and we really just need a breakout down here, don't we? So we keep finding buyers at the lows. That's very positive. Let's see if that's one of those 886 levels, because we've already done the swing 886 to the 50% a couple of times. So when you reverse it in 886, that's your target. Gosh, we just keep bumping around. So clearly this level 1710, so we've got sideways consolidation, and 1710, which is at 786 fib, and the 20 moving average is what we really need to close above if we're going to break out. Otherwise, here we are back at the lows again, trying to get away. And yeah, so that I've got Wing for me needs to close above 1720, and above 1720 I think that we will see more upside. We will go to the top of the wedge. If we draw the most recent swing, 1729 is where the 236 fib is, so I would say use 1729 instead of my ham-fisted drawing line. And above 1710, let's... Sometimes in a correction, you in a complex correction, you'll have an A leg. So this is A, and then you'll have a B, and then the C leg unfolds as a horrible sideways wedge, which is what I think this is. So like this. So we've gone A, B, and now shitty C. Now in this case, in our shitty C leg here, A, B, C, D, E. So we're not quite out of trouble in Wing. We could very easily do this before we get away again. So when you buy it, if you do buy it above this 236 fib, make sure that we get beyond this 50% and this trend line, because that's where your resistance is. 50% level is 1892. So you really need a close and hold above 1892. Otherwise, it's possible we still get an E leg before this one breaks out. So just watch out that that doesn't happen, because that, you see that a lot, A, B, and then C, this extended C. So that's Wing Bitcoin. I'm not sure if the Wing is traded against the dollar. If it is, we'll take a look. Okay. Got the same thing going on, haven't we? I'm going to take this. Same fib levels as well. I'm going to just clean this up and say this is what I think that we're looking at, and so we'll look at it like this. Anyway, third touches of a trend line is very often a false breakout, but I think if we can get above these daily moving averages and out of this sideways range, and that would be a close above these closes, we'd just be looking at the same thing. So a close above 19.3, that would be a nice bullish look, and we could get to maybe 24, but make sure, you know, we're just looking at bounces off the lows here. And remember, this is a corrective pattern. I don't need to zoom out. I know what the bigger picture is. If we break out of the wedge, I would say 27 and 33. If we can't get beyond 33, though, all we've done here in a downtrend is make a big ABC correction. So be a little bit careful. And the main message for Wing Bitcoin and Wing Dollar is let's get above that daily 20 moving average, and that which has been resistance for the last 2 weeks, and then we'll see some more upside. If we can't, there's a good chance in this we retest the lows. Okay, next one we're going to look at is Ripple, ZRX, XMR. I don't think that they were actually requested, so I'll just do tonight's requests, I think. I need to go back to see what tonight's. I will do your XTZ and KNC, don't worry. And we will take a look at Ripple, because Ripple is really... Ripple is like Marmite, isn't it? I'm going to start here with Ripple Bitcoin, because it's really underperforming Bitcoin. And this is a weekly chart. And we'll zoom out. And I feel like here we are again in this one of these declining wedges, and looking at likely another swing lower. I'm going to put that 942 level in. It's down here. I'm a little bit worried that that's where we may end up, but I can tell you where I'm wrong and we can be bullish again, because you see how we've bounced from this 886 fib. We really tried hard to bounce and rally away from this 886 fib level at 2620, didn't we? And then when it got underneath it, it became resistance and we couldn't. And this weekly 50 moving average was also here. So we're going to be wrong, and we will be bullish if we can close and break out above 2620. And until then, really, Ripple Bitcoin, it's underperforming Bitcoin, and it's still in a downtrend. And potentially next big fib level is down at 1334, which is, you know, a long way down from here. I think we'll probably ride down. We've got 3 touches on the top of this wedge, 2 touches on the bottom. I think that your next bounce level, again, which is a long way down, possibly is the bottom of this wedge. So on the weekly, that's my weekly view, and it's not very pretty. Sorry. Now, I could be wrong. We could be correction over, and that would be the level but I'd be looking for. But at the moment, even today, you know, we're still holding underneath these daily moving averages. This looks like the rally that we've just had looks like an ABC rally. Always a sign of a correction. We couldn't close above this equal measured move level. That was here, look. And so still headed lower for Ripple, and probably to new lows against Bitcoin. Now, that doesn't mean that necessarily that Ripple dollar is going to see new lows, but you always want to be in crypto. You kind of always want to be on the fastest horse in the race, don't you? And so if Bitcoin's going faster, that's where you kind of want to be. So let's look at Ripple Tether, because again, it's not such a rubbish picture, and we could potentially be building a big inverted head and shoulders pattern here against the dollar. That would be quite bullish for all crypto, because, you know, if this is getting spanked against Bitcoin but still rallying against the dollar, that says it's very, you know, positive for the whole crypto space. So a rally higher from here has got this clearly obvious target at 0.327 and these previous highs. Let's go back to the daily, because we've got this big inverted head and shoulders pattern, and then here potentially on the daily we've got this little one, haven't we? Here's our neckline at 25 something, isn't it? 0.258. Now, if head and shoulders patterns fail, they almost always fail because the right shoulder is actually an ABC pattern. So if we measure from the low to the high here, and you can see that that equal measured move level is also around our neckline. So let's bring it a bit lower to our neckline, 0.2573. So for this to trigger and for me to be bullish, Ripple, dollar, Tether, it's got to close and hold above 0.2573, and then I think, okay, it's going to do it. So here when we look at it on the hourly, let's see how we're doing at this level. We're not over the line, are you? So this is really what I want to see. I want to see it above the line and holding above the line, and then happy days. And if we can't get above these highs, this could be a sell level. I hate to say it, a sell level for Ripple Tether. Now tonight we've talked a lot about ABC patterns and that 61.8 level and how it's important. So if we do that, if we say that here for Ripple Tether, then this 61.8 level, 0.2462, then that would be where you would sell it underneath. So 0.2462. So, and in between here, we've kind of got flat moving averages and no man's land. So we're sellers underneath 0.2426, and we're buyers if we can hold above 0.2573. And at the moment, we're in the chop zone. So that's where I'm looking at Ripple. I'm going to do KNC next, and then I'm going to do Tezos. And then everyone can yell at me for the ones that they wanted that I haven't done because I've really screwed up so badly tonight. Okay, so KNC is next. I don't know. I don't think I've even looked at DOT. Have I? Have I looked at DOT? Maybe someone can tell me. All right, now here's a happy one. The reason we're happy in this one, let's look at it on a weekly. To start with, big picture. So we had a lovely big rally in Kyber Network. We went to 50% of the last swing lower. That unfortunately is usually the sign of a correction. And now we had a nice big either ABC up or a 5-wave one, and now we've completed by reaching this level here an ABC pattern back again. Let's go to regular candles and you'll see what I mean. So this was our in fact, even if we measure from here, here's our, actually I don't think it is from there, there's the retest. I think that this is our ABC pattern lower. And if I take this away and I do instead a projection from this low to high in this correction here like this, you can see that we're at the 1.618 extension of this rally, which is very useful. A useful way to find targets when you're having a pullback. If we draw our fib retrace levels from the lows, they don't work so well in this one at the moment, unless we call this a messy 61.8, which 61.8 levels very often are, which is good because then back above this if we get back above this 61.8 level, which is 91.67, and back above this daily 20 moving average, which we haven't yet, then we know where our target is, because when you reverse it at 61.8, you're looking for the 38.2, and the 50% in the middle is your kind of pivot level. And you can see here how important this 50% level is. Lows, 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 lows. Look how many days we sat at that level. 11,583. So now the meat in our sandwich, or the trade in Kyber Network, is if we get above 91.67, we're looking for 11,583. That's our trade. And if we get above 11,583, we're looking for 13,998, basically 14,000. So that's what we're looking for. So today's high then is our, what we've got to go beyond in Kyber Network if we're going to do it. So let's look at it, how we're doing here. A little bit of a pause here at the moment. And are we going to get over the line? Let's measure this swing. Let's hope it's not one of those ABCs. That would be disappointing. It's not, and this 61.8 level is here. So let's say 8853. We wouldn't want to go back below there, really, would we? We'd like to hold that level if we can. 8853. So I'll just leave that there. And we'll see then if we can just pull back and carry on going higher in Kyber Network Bitcoin. But really, we're only super out of trouble above kind of 91.67. And that daily 20 moving average is going to be important. So support, resistance, big trade if we can get above it. Kyber Network, Tether. I keep getting sidetracked. I will go to OMG. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Connor. You don't have to send me money. I'll look at it. Okay. So we got... let's look at this nicely here and see where we are on this daily chart in this one. I'm always fascinated to see whether they stop at a 1272 or 1.618 and you know what's kind of going on. Now clearly, let's start. What I'm going to do is put my fib retracers on from these lows to high now, like this, because this 236 fib will be our first upside target. And I'm also going to put on this low here because this is clearly a bit of a sticky level. We're above it, but if we go back and we look at it under the hood, I think we'll see that it's also quite a good support and resistance level. So I think Kyber Network is turning it around. I would like to see it above these previous highs because whenever you are trying to reverse the trend, remember a downtrend is lower highs and lower lows. And if this is our last lower high, that's what we have to take out in order to reverse the trend, this high here. So we're not quite there yet. It's kind of had a bit of a... I think it comes from that low, this level that we're stuck at. 1.047. You can see this support and resistance level. So a little bit of a pullback. I think that, again, that support comes from this big level way back in June at the big round number 1.0 for Kyber Network. And then I would like to see that carry on higher and get to 1.114, which is our first fib target on the upside. Expect a bit of a knockback there, and then hopefully above there is our bullish reversal. So it's not quite enough yet, but that's what I'm looking for, a shallow pullback and carry on higher to 1.14. I'm just going to measure. The thing is, when I don't prep, is you hear how I have to work everything out. So now it's possible that this little level here, this 4-hour 200 moving average, and this 50% of our big up move, 1.019, may be all the pullback that we get before we carry on high. It might just be a shallow one. But Kyber Network, no, I definitely see more upside for this one. I love how we're holding above the 20 moving average. Normally, if you do that, your first target is back to this 50%, daily 50 moving average, sorry. So yeah, nice and bullish, but we really need new highs, don't we? Above 1047. Then we'll see more follow through to the upside. Okay, let's take a look at OMG, OMG, which I have not got. Gosh, it's not like me, I haven't got the page open. Okay. Again, we're going to start big picture with the weekly chart, see what's going on here. We've got OMG US dollar. I don't know which one you want, Connor, OMG dollar or OMG Bitcoin. We'll do Bitcoin afterwards. We'll start with OMG dollar and then we'll do theta as well. Yeah, I haven't done theta. Okay. Let's, this was a pretty nice retrace in OMG. If we go from the all-time lows, this is lovely 786 reversal, isn't it? It looks like 786. That would normally mean that we have a target up here at the 38.2, which is up here. As long as we can break the 61.8. I've got it in log scale, so it looks a bit funky. There we go. So above 4.45, we've got a pattern, harmonic pattern target of 6.56. So we've had our big up reversal off this 786 fib, and now we've had 2 weeks of going sideways. What are we doing here? Are we just doing a correction? That would be nice, a nice little ABC correction, and turn higher again would be ideal, wouldn't it? Let's see if that's what we've got. It kind of looks like it. Let's measure. Hopefully. Yay! It does look like it, especially if we take it from here. So an ABC correction, we've got above that 61.8, so we are going higher. So we've had one leg up, and now we're doing a correction, and hopefully next leg up beginning. So super bullish. In fact, I really like this 4-hour buy that's setting up right now, Connor. You know how we do them. And yeah, so that would mean that a break higher from this 4-hour consolidation, especially with these lovely bunched up moving averages underneath us supporting us, would be a really nice long entry. The momentum is just turning up higher. It's not quite green yet on the CCI, but yeah. So I would like to see this pennant break to the upside and look for 4.45, and then above 4.45 obviously we've got the really big target. Now, if we're going to fail with an ABC in this rally, where is that likely to happen? 4.2. I think if we get above there, then the fib patterns kick in. So watch out for resistance at 4.2, short of the 4.4 target. But yeah, I like OMG US dollar very much. Let's take a look at OMG Bitcoin. We'll do a different exchange. Here we go. That didn't work. It's very often ABC patterns turn into bigger ABC patterns, which is very, or they do this. Now, on the 4-hour chart in OMG Bitcoin, we're in a slightly different position in where sort of mixed up with these moving averages rather than support from them. So for a breakout, we really need to break above them. So it does mean that, just means that Bitcoin is outperforming because the US dollar chart is clearly quite bullish and, or well supported anyway. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of like this level though. It's not saying buy me yet, but so yeah, let's see if this triangle or pennant can break to the upside for the next swing higher in OMG Bitcoin. In OMG Bitcoin, let's sort out our targets on the daily here. And let's find our 20 moving average, because there it is above us. Okay. Up here. Because if we look at our moving averages, what we've got to do when we break out from this wedge is break above the daily 20 moving average, and that's at 32.65. So above 32.65 is our breakout. Let's see. Next leg higher, then 37.87 first target. Back to that 236 fib level. At the moment, yeah, this one could really go either way, couldn't it? Flat moving averages. We've never got back to this 200 moving average. So I really wouldn't buy OMG Bitcoin unless it got back above the 20 moving average, because looking at this, for me, that, you know, the path of least resistance really here, having failed at the that 236 fib, the path of least resistance here is looking like one more swing lower to the 200 moving average. So hold fire on OMG until then. Let's take a look at theta. And if I haven't done something you asked for, you're going to need to. Oh, here's my chart with a million things on it. Right, let's take everything off. Now, if we just zoom out and we look at everything that's going on here, and you look out, you get flat moving averages, sideways range. When you break out of your sideways range and your moving averages start to peel apart, you get a trend. And you look for pullbacks, A, B, C patterns to the moving averages to carry on. So here, this is what we've done here. This is a daily chart of theta against Tether. Flat, breakout, A, B, C, pullback, and up we go again. And here we're doing it again. A, B, C, and we're holding above the moving averages. So when I put all my, I know I've got a gazillion levels on. So I'm looking for a break to the upside of this sideways consolidation for the next leg higher in theta. And when I put on a million fib projections, I can tell you where that would be next. It's up here at 0.834. And I apologize for all the levels that I've got going on here, but that's what I'm looking for. And so we need to break out to say that we're on our way up again. Now the problem is, because this is, let's zoom out again, because this was a nice simple ABC that very often doesn't repeat itself. And in a wave 4, which this might be, you very often get a triangle or a wedge. And so in this case, if that's what we're doing, we're going to get 5 waves within the triangle. So we go A, B, C, D, and now we're still looking for E. Before this triangle is complete, we're going to say hi to this 4-hour moving average, and then that's going to be our next leg higher. Now, I will warn you, sometimes in these bullish markets, you don't quite get all the way back to this trend line. It might get front run and turn higher ahead of them. I've seen it quite often in crypto, less so than other markets. So that's what I'm looking for in theta. One more swing lower and then next swing up. So, oh no, look, I messed it up. But anyway, target then, next upside target is 0.834. And then above there, 1.05, I think, is where I would be looking, 1.042. So could see quite a big swing for this next one. Let's see. This is just the first place where it'll take a breath, and then we'll see what happens there. So yes, sideways triangle, potentially we swing lower before higher in theta, but I still see more upside for theta. Okay. Next is ZRX. Okay. I don't think anyone asked for ZRX, but I will look at ZRX because one of the reasons that we're looking at ZRX is Monero and privacy coins. Because if privacy coins are going to go nuts, which Monero has been, then we should look at the other privacy coins to follow on. When I look at Monero US dollar Tether, which we should really compare apples and apples, so we'll look at it against Tether. When I look at Monero Tether, I think we've got more upside. Even if we're just doing a giant kind of ABC thing here, 154 is potentially where I see us going next. And if I put my fib projections on, you can see we tagged this 1272. I think I'd like to see it retested 147, and if we can get beyond that, you know, loads more upside, 141. So a nasty sell-off today though, and that's to be expected at a 1.272 extension. So if we can hold 134, I would say let's go down to 4 hour. If we can hold 134, we can expect a retest of the highs. If not, I think we come back and we retest this breakout level in this previous high at 121. So is this a great place for a new long entry in Monero? No, it's not. If you've got Monero, I think it's worth hanging on because we could have more room to the upside. But it's not a, with the moving averages this spaced out and this far apart, it's not a good place for any kind of new positions in Monero. So we need to look at other privacy coins like ZRX, which has just made a very nice little double bottom here at the 200-day moving average. And so if ZRX breaks out from this sideways range, then we could see a really nice move in this one. So we've done our double bottom, haven't we? Here's our level that we're stuck. We need to get above. It's kind of, there's the closes. It's like that. So this is what I'm looking at for ZRX, and I just make sure, just draw them. Let's try that again. Try and line it, there we go. Put that on the high. Put this on the low. So our first target will be this big 236 fib up here. I'm going to hide these. Yeah, I'm going to hide those for now. And you know, when you have a double bottom and you break out the top, your target is normally twice the range. So if this is your range, you should go twice this distance. So if we break higher in ZRX, that's going to be our upside target. And I keep moving this because I'm a wally. There we go. 0.483 then is our upside target for ZRX if we break out of this sideways range. And I think it's looking good for it. And then beyond there, we can say, yeah, we've really got a decent bottom, and we can look for 50%. That would be normal in a correction, and then, you know, hopefully new upswing. If we zoom out, this is actually a kind of really cool place, you know, with to rally back from, and you know, no reason why we shouldn't, you know, go at least 50% of the drop from here. So I like ZRX to follow on. If we look at these weekly candles, look, we had a weekly, really kind of, they're dojis, they're not hammers, but really good signs of bias here. So I'm pretty optimistic for ZRX. So how do we get in? Are we going to wait for a breakout? We're pretty close to this kind of daily close level, isn't it? A daily close above here in this 4 hour 200 moving average. This would be very tempting. Although I wouldn't mind, to be honest, I would buy this here and see if we can break above this resistance. I think it's really all set to go. ZRX, it's one of my favorite charts at the moment. So that's ZRX Tether, ZRX Bitcoin. I already can't remember if I did it. I didn't. Okay, let's zoom out here and we'll look at this really cool level that we are sitting on. It is a very cool level. In ZRX Bitcoin, however, we are lagging a little bit. We're underneath these daily moving averages, but I really like the swing failure pattern that we've got going on here. That's when you make a new low and you close back above it. And this is a little bit of a pullback. So it's a pretty nice reversal followed by 50% pullback, and we're turning up higher again. For me, this is a perfect 4 hour buy spot. I really like this. And because I haven't got a double bottom, so I can't use the previous highs as a target for this one, I'm going to zoom all the way out and use my 236 fib from that high. for ZRX Bitcoin. And hopefully, oh yeah, it all lines up. Hooray. So on both, we're looking for this 236 fib. And so against ZRX Bitcoin, we're looking for 4357. So yeah, just reversing off a really good level. And I actually like it. I think I'm going to, when this broadcast finishes, I think I'm going to sell some of my Bitcoin and buy ZRX. I'm going to put my, I'm swinging it, so I'm going to swing it on the 4 hours. So I'm going to put my stop under this low here, 3354. And I expect a bit of a wobble up here. If this fails, it'll fail sort of at an ABC pattern. So if we do this here like this, let's hope it doesn't, you know, but 3761 or something. So I'll watch out and see how it unfolds. But yeah, ZRX to play catch up on Monero. Okay, and then I'm just going to look at DOT. Did I do DOT, guys, or not? I didn't do DOT, did I? DOT and SNX then. Okay, let's look at some DOT. And actually, hang on, I think I might have it here. I mentioned that I kind of like Atom, hopefully. Okay. We'll start with Bitcoin. Oh, look at this chart. This is quite nice, isn't it? So let's see where our nice little 50% correction is, because that's where we're always looking for, if we can manage it. Nice, clean, somewhere, you know, a pullback. And look, I want to buy ZRX now, yeah. James, yeah. So a correction, you're always looking for somewhere between the 50 and the 61.8. This is ideal. This is a pretty nice little swing failure pattern. Here, let's measure these swings, because let's see, we haven't got that 61.8 thing going on. Yeah, I think we have. We're holding it. So that's pretty cool. I think that we can see how this 20 moving averages pink line. It's a 20 EMA. It's my best friend. So whenever I'm trading, I always want to be, whatever time frame I'm on, hourly, daily, I want to be on the right side of my 20 moving average. And so for me, if I was going to buy this, I would want to see above this 20 moving average and these above these previous highs, because I just kind of like, I trend things. I don't want to be doing the heavy work turning it around. So when we look at it here on an hourly, and this is our 20 moving average now, you can see that the 20 moving average becomes a nice neckline, nice support and resistance level as well. So this is where our breakout is. It would be the icing on the cake if this was also kind of a 236 fib level, but I don't think it will be, but we'll have a quick peek anyway, probably from this swing. No, that's a little bit higher. Okay. So yeah, this above, a close above 39 would be a really good indication that this one is going higher. And then if we can take out these previous highs and the hourly 200 moving average, we've probably got ourselves a bit of a bullish reversal. Freddie, I'm not going to go all in. I've still got other positions. I'm not going to go all in Bitcoin, but I like it. Okay, so this trend line is pretty hard to draw. I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to stick with the horizontal levels in this one. So yeah, simple trend reversal. If we can, if DOT can trade above the daily 20 moving average and these previous highs around 39,400 and change, then that would be a bullish reversal for Bitcoin. So that's what we'll be looking for. If we look at Tether, I know it's simple, but sometimes the simple rules are the best. You know, if we're in a downtrend, these previous highs and lows matter, and these here, if we look at these previous highs, low in Tether, they matter. 4.6. I'm going to put the fib levels on here. Aren't really helping. I'm going to put them on here. Oh look, that's 50% as well. So above, becomes quite important, above 4.59, that would be a bullish reversal. Remember, 50% levels in corrections very often are sticky. So this would be a sticky level. If we go beyond that, of this last swing lower, that would be what we're looking for. So Tether looks like it's turning up nicely. We've stopped going down. Moving averages have flattened out. We're going sideways. Now, what if this is one of those complex corrections where this is an A, B, and then we do, you know, big wedge or triangle? That would be an issue, wouldn't it? Then we would end up looking at something like that, but hopefully not. Okay, very close to a reversal and in Tether, not much higher, 4.6. Okay, and SNX, and then, you know, we can talk about next swing higher then, because this is how I would look for my targets. I'll put my fibs on from this high to this low, like this, because when you have an ABC, okay, so whenever you think you've got an ABC, you put your fib on from the A to the C. That's how I do it anyway. And I'm looking for targets, so I would be looking for new highs, 7.7 and 8.87. Next leg up for Tether. Okay, and there's time for stores. Yeah, I'm going to look at SNX and stores. So let's look at the weekly in SNX. Because we've really pulled back to a cool level in SNX, haven't we? We've pulled back to 50% of the entire, if this is against Bitcoin, we've pulled back to 50% of the entire rally from the lows, all-time low to high. And that would normally be a really significant level. The problem is that this looks quite like 5 waves up. And when you do an ABC correction, you normally come back to the bottom of wave 4 of the previous one, which would be this 61.8. So that's pretty cool, because that means we know then if we lose, if we break below this 50% level, we know where we're going. It's down to this 61.81. And so we've got really low risk here if we buy against this level. If we're going to go higher, we need to get above this weekly 20 and more than 50% up of this down week in terms of weekly to be going up, because in candlesticks, you know, 50% of the open close matters. So that's where we're bullish above. If we look at the daily, you can see that we've tested this level, this weekly resistance level, twice already. And so here's our sideways range in SNX. So now we're bullish above here, and we're bear underneath it, and we've got this sideways consolidation. And inside the range, if you want a short-term trade, inside the range, happy days. So if we close below 33,919, we're going down to 26,100, and we've bottomed if we can get above this, and we're looking for more upside. Short-term bottom anyway. Then our next tribulation will be probably a trend line test in SNX. So I'm going to say I'm not 100% sure that SNX Bitcoin is done going down, and it could be that we still break lower. But yeah, above 37,000, I think that there's a good chance we come up and test the trend line, and 42,400, 42,500. We'll see where we go from there. Okay. SNX dollar. That's Bitcoin. Gosh, it's a good hold at these lows, isn't it? So I'm guessing it's quite a similar scenario. I'm hoping it is. This is kind of the 50% that we should be lurking above. Might not be though, but oh no, well, the lowest here, isn't it? Bit messy then, but I hate charts that have stupid spikes on them. They mess everything up, but by that I mean this stupid spike here in April 19. But I wish when they happen that they got, look at these stupid spikes, I wish they got cleaned up, because they wreck your chart. And anyway, I'm going to stop complaining now, and we'll put on our 61.8 level, which is where we're going to go. Obviously, if we drop lower and back to this low in the 200 moving average, although I don't think the market's paying much attention to these fib levels, so we'll look at them as horizontal support in this case. So we're holding horizontal support, and we'll hide these, and we'll look at fibs from the low, from the high to low instead, and we'll use the 236 fib for our reversal, if I can read it. 4.449 then, above 4.449, which is a bit of a support and resistance level. I think there's a good chance that we're going up. I don't think we can. Crypto Twitter might get excited above this trend line, and third touch of this trend line. I kind of don't trust it though. So I would trust this one more, but I'm going to leave it and just let's go with these horizontal levels. So upside, I'm looking for 4.449, and then above there, let's see where we go. So since against the US dollar, it does look a lot better. Look at that, our 4-hour 200 moving average is lurking there. We can see that this is a bit of support and resistance here as well at this fib level, which is what you always want to see. So yeah, I'm bullish from here to 4.449, and above there I would like to see 5.62 and higher. And I think we can say we've bottomed. Okay, and there was one. I do have time for storage, Alex. Yeah, hold on. So storage is a nice one that we traded in our group over the weekend. Long, on the long side. Or Friday, I think we traded it. I can't remember. Storage. So here's our weekly view of storage. It looks like we've turned up again after a really nice pullback to the weekly 20 moving average, and a very deep pullback in this one. And here on the daily, this was our long entry here on Friday. So we got above. So we put our fibs on from the highs, like this, high to low, got above the 236, pulled back on it, sat on it, and we were waiting for the next swing to break higher. That's what we got with storage. We got quite a nice 4-hour buy here. And this is where we bought it. Here, Now, so we've gone 50% and we've pulled back. Now, the danger when you, let's hide that. The danger when you stop at a 50% level is that you sometimes come back and go 50% all the other way. But you have to think of fibs like a staircase. So that only happens if you break the 38.2. So here in storage, we stopped at the 50%, pulled back to the 38.2 for support, and as long as we hold above it, we can still look to climb the staircase higher, if you like, in storage. And so I think keep a stop under here, and that's where we're wrong. It looks like to me we've done a nice little ABC correction back to this level, and we should be about to turn up again. Volume looks good. So I would say hang on for the ride. My big target, my first target for storage is the big 236 fib level, which is at 6252, and the 61.8, which is here in the pink zone. And the big 236 fib level, if I go to the weekly or the monthly in storage, oops, I've messed it up. You can see comes all the way. It's not even from the high highs, it's just from this one, believe it or not. But it kind of lined up and looked right, so that's why we're using it, for now anyway. So yeah, I'm still bullish storage as long as that support holds at 5,029. I think that's the level to buy against to see. And so if we look at storage dollar, if you're, oh, it's not traded against Tether. I didn't think it was, so there you go. Okay, let me just see. Have I done AVE, Lend, SRM or Sol? Hello 5 AM. No, I'll do one of them though. Which one would you like? Lend? AAV, let's do Lend. If I can find it. AAVE. Should we look at it? What did you say? Against either Bitcoin or ETH. Okay, let's look at it. Lend against that's no, that's no good. Let's look at. Here we go. AVE again. Lend against Bitcoin. Oh, that's no good. Let's look at it against ETH. Hold on. Here we go. Okay. Let's start with a weekly. Because this is a lovely pullback to weekly 20 moving average, these previous highs in a trend. This would be a really cool place for us to find support and carry on higher. Let's see if we can find any more reason why this would be a really good place. Because yeah, if we look here, it's also the 50% retrace, so very good place. If this was a wave 1 and a big wave 2, and this is a big wave 3, this would be an ideal spot for us to pull back to. Weekly 20 moving average, 50% retrace. So now let's see where we are, because we've bounced off the lows here, and the problem is we haven't caught up. The 20 moving average hasn't caught us up, 200 moving average, and that's kind of what you like to see usually in a pullback. And so when that happens very often, especially if you're at the ideal place, what you'll tend to do is go sideways. So we might rally here, because we might rally here, and then bounce around and then do a bit of this, and then by then this 200 moving average, let's take rid of that, will have caught us up, and we can say hi, tap it, and be on our way. All the time that you're above the 200 moving average, you're pulling it higher. So although we've reached the kind of ideal level to rally from, it's not kind of ideally set up for me in terms of moving averages or in terms of a base. So what I would want to see, if we are going to hold this 50% and this level, is I would want to see it hold on a retest. So I want to see a bottoming pattern, like a double bottom, inverted head and shoulders pattern, triple bottom, something like that. Because if we don't hold it on a retest, this 50%, at the moment, this is just a bounce in a downtrend. If we don't hold it on the retest, then we could very well drop to this 61.8 level and the 200 moving average before we make a bottom in lend. So that's the risk. I think it looks really good, and I would rather the go sideways scenario while the 200 moving average catches up. It's also, you can see an equal measured move here. So now, what if we don't wait for the 200 moving average and we just rally away without it? Well, I just drew that 61.8 level in these previous highs. I think if we break above them and above the 50, we're going to be on our way no matter what in lend Bitcoin. And so I would buy it above 550,000 anyway. I think it's on the way up. So that's what I would be looking for. So above 550,000, it's a buy anyway. Otherwise, look for some sideways consolidation in this 200 moving average to catch up. This is a really good place for lend to rally from. Just need to see the right bottoming action now. Okay. All right, I'm really sorry I messed up the list tonight. Captain Crypto likes LTO. Do you? Looks like it. Let's have a look. LTO, I don't know if have I got a chart? Here we go. I might have a chart for, oh yeah. At the 200-day moving average, LTO, no less. Yeah, I think I kind of like it too. Here's the thing though. This high to lows, just how see how we're respecting these fib levels? We reversed it to 786. The first target is a 38.2. We tagged it, bounced off it. And then if you go underneath it, you usually go to the 236 fib, and we haven't got there. 5116. So I'm a little bit concerned, unless we get above this level, that we could still see one more push lower in LTO. So I'd be super comfortable above 7043. That's Tether. Otherwise, just, yeah, watch out. Captain Crypto. Can I look at UTK? Yeah, last one. Last one, because I've been a really bad parent and forgot. I only have to look at this seal. Do you know, someone in our group had their eye on this. Andrew Ballard, all over this one. He thinks this one has huge potential. And I do too, because we have gone into the gap. You know, when you go into the gap, so I'm told it's not a gap, that they did some repricing thing. But yeah, it's messed up all the moving averages, so I can't really tell you where that one's going. But let's look at, even uni is turning up again. All right, UTK. Did you feed your children though? As long as you fed them. Yeah, I have. No, you didn't, Spaghetti. I didn't do it. Okay. Well, this hourly looks nice and bottomy, but let's look at the... I hate it when the spike is this big, because the fibs don't always work. Actually, they might here. Okay, look at this. So you put your fib on high to low. You're still in a downtrend unless you can get above the 236 fib, and we didn't. So this here looks now bullish across these 4-hour moving averages. This consolidation, I would expect to break to the upside in UTK, and we're going to retest this 236 fib level, which is at 0.1502. Above 0.1502, we will have a better bottom. We can look at then you put the other fibs in, 38.2, next up 50%, and so on. So sideways, first upside target 1502, and then we're on our way up again in UTK Tether, UTK Bitcoin, and then I'm going to go and do Bitcoin, and then I'm going to do Tezos, sorry. Now, yeah, pretty similar thing, but I'm going to say that this time against Bitcoin, let's ignore those fib levels. So we're going to put this one like this. %50 up, 50% back. Now we're looking for it to turn up again. Gosh. We need to take out this high to be going up again on the hourly, which is at 1,200. Above 1,200, we should see the next leg up. And because this swing was to the 50%, we're going to look for 1.618 of this swing, which would mean up here. Target would be 1326. So above 1200, next target 1326, and we'll see what happens there if we can pull back and then only have a shallow pullback and continue the trend. That's how I'm seeing this one. Yeah, that's the next upside target. So yeah, it does look like it's turning up again, but only above 1200 sat, I would say UTK for sure. JAG, hope that helps. The risk is this is just going to go sideways and potentially another swing lower. You know, if you were hanging on to some, you really wouldn't want to. Yeah, we could potentially retest the lows if that breaks. Now XTZ, now. This is, yeah, I remember XTZ. So let's start with XTZ Bitcoin. Okay, I've got my fibs on from this low, October 19 to this high. I see how these fib levels were respected. They really were respected. 38.2, 50%, 50% here, 50%, and this 61.8. We overshot it and became resistance because they're support and resistance. So I'm going to say that we're bullish again if we get back above 2083. And if we can't, this looks to me like a bear flag, and we're going to carry on lower to the 786. So it's kind of really important that we get back above that 61.8 level and hold above it, 2083. So when we look at it on our lower time frame, our 200 moving average is lining up there. By that I mean get above it, find support, turn up higher. Okay, so is it worth looking back at the longer history? Yeah, it is worth looking always back. Okay, but because yeah, you know, I wanted Tezos to hold this equal measured move. When I look at this weekly chart, for me, I was looking at it like this. This was our A leg of correction. this was our AB leg, and this was our C leg, and we've overshot the equal measured move as well, which makes me think we're looking, you know, for a 1272 as well. So I feel like Tezos has just overshot the levels that I wanted to see it hold. And so unless it can recover at them, I think that the path of least resistance, unfortunately, is still lower for Tezos, and it's, you know, disappointing. It is disappointing, but that's where we're at, you know, and we just have to ban up. So XTZ Bitcoin, now that just means it's going to underperform Bitcoin. It doesn't mean, because in a bull market we could see everything rally. So let's take a look at XTZ against Tether, because we've done the same thing, but we've potentially, I'm going to put this, because I'm going to put this in here. We overshot the 61.8 level here, but we've recovered it. That's quite a good sign for XTZ Bitcoin, potentially. Well, it means you're not going to lose money if you're holding it in US dollar. You're still going to gain. And so this actually is a pretty good sign in that respect. So where is our upside target for Tezos Tether? 2.62 is where we'd be looking, and back to the 200 moving average. So again, this is starting to look like we're going to see quite a nice bull market across the board. Where, if we don't get there, would we fail? If this was just a correction, we're going to measure this as an ABC, 2.448. But you know, these moving averages, they're really bullish. They say we're going higher. So Tezos against the dollar is going higher. It's just not going to, unless we see a bit more of a turnaround, it's not going to outperform Bitcoin, that's all. So this was, do need to see a new high coming up, but it's looking pretty good. We're right up against it. So 2.62, and then if we can get above 2.62, because we've reversed it to 61.8, 38.2, 3.06. So some nice upside. And then, you know, above there, we can say, yeah, we've turned it around and perhaps a new swing higher for Tezos. But that's what I'm seeing at the moment. All right, then. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm sorry for the screw up on the coins.